The Philadelphia Eagles continue to show how scary they can be as they continue to advance further into this season. Most recently, they beat the Jacksonville Jaguars by a score of 29-21 in Doug Pederson's return to Philadelphia. They advanced to 4-0, and they are the only undefeated remaining team in the NFL. However, this win for the Philadelphia Eagles was not a pretty one. They won in ugly fashion, and there were things that were not working early on in this game for the Philadelphia Eagles, and they got off to a bad start. They threw a pick six on their first offensive possession, and the Eagles got out to a 14-0 deficit early in the first quarter. However, the Eagles were able to show their ability to fight through adversity. They fought through several injuries, and they came back to obviously win this game. But exactly how did the Eagles do that? Well, in the second quarter, the Philadelphia Eagles went on a 20-0 run. The second quarter has really been the Eagles' quarter this season, putting up a lot of points in their first three games in the second quarter, and in this game it was no different, as they came out and scored 3 touchdowns in that quarter to retake the lead versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Eagles really had to make adjustments heading into that second quarter in order to do this. They started the game by throwing the ball, but that wasn't really a viable option because the weather during the game was not favorable for a pass-heavy play-calling strategy, as there was a lot of rain and wind coming down in Philadelphia. So they flipped over to a more run-heavy style offense. That's what the Eagles did a lot last year that was successful, and that's what they had to do in this game versus the Jaguars defense, who are the #1 run defense in the NFL coming into this game. But the Philadelphia Eagles stuck with it, and they were able to outmuscle the Jacksonville Jaguars run defense. And Miles Sanders had a career day on the ground, having a career high in carries with 27 carries, a career high in yards, 134 yards, and 2 touchdowns in this game. Last season, Miles Sanders went scoreless. He had no touchdowns, and this season he already has 3, 2 coming in this game. Great game from Miles Sanders. And then in the air, Jalen Hurts did not have his best game of the season, but he did what he had to do today. He had a pretty decent game for what was going on. Obviously, like I mentioned before, there was a lot of rain coming down, which made it hard to pass the ball, but Jalen Hurts was still good throughout this game, and he only turned the ball over that one time in the first quarter, and he was able to manage the game as it went on. He got the ball to A.J. Brown, who had 5 catches for 95 yards, and he was a big factor in this game, moving the chains for the Philadelphia Eagles. And the offense overall had a good day, especially considering those tough weather conditions. But we also got to talk about the defense, who for the 3rd week in a row was just so dominant, proving they can be one of the best defenses in the NFL. This defense had to fight through injury, as Darius Slay, the #1 quarterback, was not in the game for most of it, as he went out early in the first quarter with a forearm injury, and Avonte Maddox did not play the entire game. So they had 2 backup cornerbacks in the game, in Zach McPherson and Josiah Scott, which made it harder for the Philadelphia Eagles defense and play caller Jonathan Gannon to be aggressive, but they still were able to make a huge impact. They got pressure on Trevor Lawrence all day and made him turn the ball over. In this game, Trevor Lawrence was not very good at all. He was 11 for 23, which is 47.8% completion percentage. He had 174 yards and 2 touchdowns, but he also had 1 interception, which was crucial, and he also had 4 fumbles lost. Trevor Lawrence is the only player in this century to lose 4 fumbles in a single game. That's how dominant the Philadelphia Eagles defense was. Haason Reddick was wreaking havoc, had his biggest game as a Philadelphia Eagle to date. He had 2 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, and 2 fumble recoveries, made huge plays, and then James Bradberry also had a big play, picking off Trevor Lawrence on a Jonathan Gannon super aggressive blitz, and he picked off Trevor Lawrence when he was throwing to Christian Kirk in the red zone. The defense pretty much just controlled the Jaguars the entirety of the game after the first quarter. The Eagles definitely did not play their best in this game, but that's exactly what makes them so scary. They were able to gut out a tough win in less than ideal weather conditions versus a pretty good Jacksonville Jaguars team. Heading into the week, people were saying the Jaguars might actually have a chance of beating the Eagles, and of course their defense coming in was ranked the best in the league in terms of run defense, and they were just a good defense in general. And Trevor Lawrence and that offense had played really well under Doug Pederson. Philadelphia Eagles were able to pretty much control the game after that first quarter, and there were certain parts of the game that weren't there for the Eagles. For example, the passing offense wasn't really there, especially when they came out in the first quarter. The rain was really having an effect on it, so they went and made adjustments, turned to the running game, and they were able to impose their will on that Jaguars run defense. And Miles Sanders obviously had a career day on the ground, and the defense stepped up once again, had another incredibly dominant performance, forcing 5 turnovers in this game. The Philadelphia Eagles are 4-0, and they still have yet to play their best football. If they hit their full potential coming down the stretch of the season towards the end in like December, heading into January, into the playoffs, the Philadelphia Eagles could really make some noise heading into the postseason, and that's what makes this team so scary. They still have untapped potential, but they've also shown just how dominant they can be on both sides of the ball. And that's pretty much all I got for this video, guys. So what did you think of the Philadelphia Eagles win over the Jacksonville Jaguars? And if you did enjoy this video, subscribe to the channel for more videos just like this, covering the Eagles, covering the NFL, and covering the Sixers. They got a game tomorrow, and their season's going to be starting soon. Going to be doing plenty of content on them as well. And follow me over on Instagram and Twitter for more content just like this. And with that being said, that's pretty much all I got for this video. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.